war in May, August, and just recently in October. I came back in November to give a speech at the Breakers about 2 weeks ago. So this is going to be off the cuff. As you can tell with a name like Sullivan, I'm not Ukrainian. I don't have a drop of Ukrainian blood in me. But I do have the spirit of freedom, and that is the spirit of Ukraine. One of the things I really wanted to cover was what the people are actually going through. We've seen the pictures of the orphans who have been kidnapped. The numbers are actually substantially higher than what are being quoted. We're not hearing about what the kids are actually going through. If you can imagine being a child that hears an air raid siren and he's playing, and they get a look of fear on their face because they're not sure what's going to take place. It's unlike anything you've ever seen. To continually go through an entire day, you're playing, you're enjoying your life, and all of a sudden there's an air raid siren and a missile flying over your head. How do kids recover from that? I'm working with a group, the conductor of the ballet and opera in Kiev, and we're actually putting together a program for PTSD because the entire country is suffering from this. When I was there on this last trip, I was actually at the Kiev Opera House, which is a fantastic place. A girl came up to me and asked me in Ukrainian where her seats were. I said, I'm American, I barely speak English. She actually spoke English, and she asked me where the seats were. On the way to her seats, she said she was from Kharkiv. I asked how long she had been there, back in Kiev, and she said 4 days. She then stated she was going to go to Poltava in 2 days, where it was safer. Saying Poltava is safer than Kharkiv is like saying Detroit is safer than Chicago. As I talked to her, she said thank you, which I hear from every single Ukrainian that I meet. They are so grateful for what we're doing in this country. I don't think we're doing enough. But all they can say is thank you continually. She then told me that the night before she had cried for 2 hours. What it was the PTSD. She had gone from Kharkiv, which was getting missiled continually, into Kiev, which was a step down. She broke down in tears because of that step down in stress. The entire country is going to be dealing with that after this is over. The next question was a question I got very many times from people in Ukraine. They said, you're a 66-year-old American with no Ukrainian heritage. Why are you here? It's a simple reason. Ukraine is the country of my youth. It's the country I grew up in. It is a country where freedom is the most important thing to them. It is a country where people only want the opportunity to have a better life for themselves and their children. That's it. It's very simple. It is the country I grew up in the US, and that's what it reminds me of. Just a couple little stories. One, everyone that's been there to the Holodomor Memorial. I walk there every day just to visit the statue of the girl, which means so much to me. I pay my respects to her for what the Ukrainian people dealt with in the early 1930s. One time on the trip, I'm going through the underground, and I see 3 dogs on the other side. One's a mutt, one is kind of a terrier, and one is a kind of a German Shepherd mix. I walked outside and turned around and looked, and I could tell they were probably not eating for a while. So I went back inside to the grocery store, bought some dog food. The large dog, the German Shepherd, and the little terrier came over to me. And the little dog, that was a mutt, wouldn't get within 60 feet of me. It dawned on me what had happened. I had been in Bucha 2 weeks before. Just outside of Bucha, there was an animal shelter. The people who worked in that animal shelter had evacuated, knowing they could come back and feed the dogs. 3 people were killed trying to get back to the animal shelter by the Russian soldiers. When Ukraine finally cleared the area, they found 250 dogs starved to death. That's the type of person that is invading this country at this point. The last story I tell is a kind of an interesting one. It's about actually a national hero of Ukraine. His name is Stanislav. Stanislav won the first karate Olympic medal in the Japanese Olympics. When we first met, I was going down the escalator in Amsterdam. He was going up. It was in May. I said hi, talked for 5 minutes, and after that we became great friends. Stanislav, within the first 30 days of the war, sold his Olympic medal. The medal he had worked 20 years for, 2 to 3 hours a day, not including the mental anguish he went through, and he sold it to the country for $30,000 that he donated to the military. That's who this man was. Stanislav and I had become, as I said, pretty close. And it was funny, we were at breakfast, there were 6 of us there, and I looked at him and I kind of threatened him and I said, if you say thank you one more time for what the US is doing, I'm gonna punch you in the nose, whether you're a karate bronze medalist or not. So he got up to leave, and as he walked out, or as he started to walk outside, he looked at me and he goes, okay, don't hit me, thank you. I said, get away from me. Well, the other thing I wanted to do for Stanislav was the shirt that I have on, I actually made up for my employees in Ukraine 8 years ago. So I had one with me. I ran outside, he's about 20 feet away, I wadded it up and I threw it to him. I said, Stanislav, I have something for you. He caught it, which was surprising. And then he undid it and looked at the back of it. And he turned around and looked at me and said, God bless America. That's who these people are. They are so grateful for what we're doing. And I'm sick and tired of what's happening in my country, not supporting it. If any of you have any questions at all, I'm going back over in January. I pay for it myself. I don't take donations from anybody. This is a labor of love. I've been lucky in my life. But if you want to know what truly is happening, a lot of things I cannot talk about because there's kids here. And the stuff is worse than anybody has ever heard. I've been to Irpin, Bucha. I've been down to the Kherson region. We're working with a lot of charities. So anytime you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to call. And let me go one other quick thing. I was talking to the little girls over here. While I was in Kyiv, I was on Kreshadek Street. My apartment is in the Passage. And I was walking down, and there was a table of 4 little girls. They were selling refrigerator magnets. I bought 3 refrigerator magnets. I think I gave them 300 hryvnia. And I looked at the sign in the front that I had a friend translate. And all the money they were raising was going to the military. Every single donation. So I walked back and I gave the kids a large sum of money and told them to give my business card to their teacher who was actually there. As I walked away, they said, Slava Ukraine. And I turned around and said, Haram Slava. And they were shocked because I truly understand the culture. I truly understand what it's about and what this war is about. Those 4 little girls that day, in a period of 5 hours, raised $1,000. It's unlike anything I've ever seen. So that's about it, guys. Thank you for the time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, John Sullivan. It's one thing to see